Hello everyone, this is Prasad Patki from SIMMI Foundation. Today we are going to study the importance of education from individual perspective. Education must cater to the personal developmental needs of the individual. Education must be engineered to ensure overall development of the individual. The overall development of an individual through education can be achieved by focusing on following six main areas of development: physical development, intellectual development, emotional development, moral development, education for vocation, spiritual development. Let us look into them in detail. Physical development. Every individual requires sound physical health in the struggle for existence. Health is the most valuable asset of an individual. Hence, children should be taught about healthy living and physical exercises to keep themselves fit. Physical development has always been considered as an essential aspect of curriculum right from the time when individuals realized the importance of education. The main aim of physical and health education is to develop desirable understanding, attitude and practices with regard to nutrition, health and sanitization, so as to improve the health status of self, family and the community. Students need to be encouraged not only to participate but also to excel in various competitions of games and sports at national and international levels. Children must be assisted to attain neuromuscular coordination corresponding to their developmental stages. In addition to participation in games and sports, children should be encouraged to participate in NCC, scouting, etc., so that they develop loyalty, generosity, endurance, courage, decision making, and resourcefulness. Participation in these activities can also channelize their energies in a constructive direction. In ancient India, yoga and the training in warfare constituted a vital aspect of the curriculum of education. In our country, the school curriculum must include yoga, an ancient system of exercise directed towards physical, mental, and spiritual development. Yoga and meditation must be integrated in the curriculum at different stages of education to help children and youth learn the skills of physical exercise, breathing, relaxation, and concentration in a coordinated and holistic manner. Intellectual development. Many educational thinkers of the past and even of today strongly uphold Locke's theory of tabula rasa, that is, the idea that the mind is a clean slate. According to this theory, the mind is like a clean slate in the beginning. Thereafter, gradually impressions are made onto it, and subsequently the content of the mind is formed. For successful and effective living, individuals need to develop their various mental faculties such as thinking, reasoning, memory, and imagination. Hence, education must aim at development of all these mental faculties. Various academic subjects take care of these objectives. For instance, mathematics contributes to the development of precision, reasoning, analytic thinking, etc. Similarly, the study of science leads to the development of rational thinking, scientific temper, spirit of inquiry, objectivity, and scientific aptitude that includes observation, experimentation, formulation of hypotheses, testing of hypotheses with the help of gathered data, and drawing inferences and conclusions. Social sciences provide the learner with essential knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary for self-development and to be an effective and useful member of the society. Emotional development. Emotions are unique traits of the human organism. There are whole ranges of human emotions ranging from positive to negative. The positive emotions are love, affection, happiness, compassion, etc. And the negative emotions are hatred, anger, aggression, jealousy, ego, etc. There is no doubt that both types of emotions have their own significance so far as the personality development of the individual is concerned. However, education should not only aim at developing and strengthening positive emotions, it should also aim at developing self-control over negative emotions. Education should help the individual to draw inner strength from the negative emotions. Emotional maturity develops spontaneously in accordance with continuous interaction with other members at home, in the peer group, and in the community. Today, in the postmodern society, we experience the disintegration of social bonding in family and the community. In the good old times, in a joint family, the child used to get a chance to mix, play, and share his feelings and expressions with grandparents, cousins, and other members of the family. Now, in the urban setup, a child hardly even gets the proper attention of the parents. Under such circumstances, emotional problems are on the rise. Therefore, formal education needs to help the individual to achieve what could be called as the emotional literacy. Today, individuals need to possess a high level of emotional quotient along with the traditional intelligence quotient. Moral development. An individual is always expected to possess a good moral character. It is morality that distinguishes man from the animal. Morality is the law of humanity. In the ordinary sense, morality refers to adherence to some ethical standards like those of honesty, truthfulness, justice, etc. Though morality has more of a social connotation, it is to be followed individually. It is the individual who is responsible for maintaining one's own ethical standard. Education for character building or building of ethical standards is always given top priority while formulating the aims of education. It is morality which could guide humanity to constructive use of information and technology. According to Mahatma Gandhi, all our learning or recitation of Vedas, correct knowledge of Sanskrit, Latin, Greek and other languages enable us to cultivate absolute purity of heart. The end of all knowledge must be building up character. John Dewey said, all education forms mental and moral character. True education can develop in students the ability to distinguish between right and wrong, good and bad, and what is desirable and undesirable. Education for vocation. Food, shelter, and clothing are the primary needs of man. The worth of education in an immediate context lies in its potential to enable the individual to be self-sufficient so far as the basic survival needs are concerned. Education must help in placing the individual in some job or vocation. Therefore, the vocational aim of education is also called the bread and butter aim. According to Gandhi, for boys and girls, true education ought to be a kind of insurance against unemployment. It is the economics of self-sufficiency which makes man a useful citizen. Education must play a significant role in satisfying the economic needs of man. Education must develop some sellable skills in the individual. No knowledge gained in school will be useful to a person unless he or she is able to earn his or her livelihood in adult life. Education should enable a person to earn a reasonable living. Different commissions and committees on education from time to time have recommended education for vocation as one of the objectives of education. Education must aim at development of life skills, healthy work habits and work ethics. Children in their formative years need to be exposed to purposive and meaningful work education to develop necessary skills, understanding and values to be involved in productive work for self-fulfillment. However, the vocational aim of education is a narrow aim of education. Earning one's living is only one aspect of life. Though no program of education can ignore this aspect of life, education cannot be limited to this aspect alone. Education must take into consideration the total personality development of the individual. Spiritual development. Since time immemorial, man has been seeking spiritual emancipation. The whole humanity has accepted this as the ultimate end of life. Our great saints and seers have emphasized spiritual values. Our ancient scriptures have emphasized that the goal of education is liberation and that education is the journey towards that eternal enlightenment. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. All the scientific and technological development of modern times so far have not deterred man's aspiration for seeking spiritual solace as the ultimate goal of life. Therefore, no education will be treated as complete unless it helps the individual to develop spirituality. Emphasizing the importance of education for spiritualism, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan said, "The aim of education is neither national efficiency nor world solidarity, but making the individual feel that he has within himself something deeper than intellect, call it spirit if you like." Traditionally, India is perceived as the land of spiritual fulfillment. Many religious and spiritual doctrines evolved, nourished, and flourished in India. In the ancient India, education emphasized the achievement of self-realization. The education that enables the individual to achieve moksha is described as the highest form of education. But due to the influence of Western technological ethos, due to the overimportance given to material values, a sizable section of our society today seems to have distanced itself from the indigenous religious and spiritual ethos. Therefore, the primary task of education is to awaken the spiritual sense in our children. Education must inspire in our children the spiritual values. Education without strong emphasis on the fundamental importance of spiritual values will plunge the world into chaos and disorder. To maintain social integrity and peace, education must orient the people towards the timeless and eternal spiritual maxims of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means whole world is one family, and Ayam Atmana Brahmana, which means this self is divine. Development of spirituality in the individual is the key to avoid majority of social conflicts and misery arising mainly out of the plurality of the human mind. Today we studied the importance of education from individual perspective. In next lesson we will study the importance of education from social perspective. That's all for today. Thank you.